Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 22nd of August, 2023. Coming up the Tuesday Rant, episode 224 of Crusty podcast. That's right. PM Trudeau's stance against the meta issue and democracy, former MP Catherine McKenna's foolish tweet, and our Deputy Prime Minister, Miss Freeland. That's right. Her speech about democracy at a university in front of graduates. All that and more come out the podcast. Please stick around. Listener and viewer discretion is advised because, well, I smoke cigarettes and I drop the odd F bomb and other words for your listening pleasure. I'll be right back. Cheers.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthy.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Crusty Canuck podcast, the Tuesday Rant. This beautiful 22nd of August. I am your host, Crusty Canuck. Yes, it's a beautiful day out in the world as we see it today, but with more political BS and Feldergarb and other garbage. We kind of lose focus on what's real. Although, once again, if you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe. Share this podcast, all of your social media platforms, all that good stuff. Don't forget to click the notification bell there on the tube, let you know when a new content comes your way. And if you want to support my podcast financially, please click the links in the description. Buy me a coffee app, PayPal, and I believe I have another one there too with locals. That's right. And to my rumblers out there, thank you very much for the new subscribers. One round of applause for you all. There you go. You guys are awesome. Thank you all for subscribing and beautiful comments. And later in the episode, I will have a special Upper Canada, or not Upper Canada, Canadian polar vortex of bullshit coming your way. So, like the title card says, ladies and gentlemen, PM Trudeau's stance against meta and democracy, former MP Catherine McKenna's foolish tweet, and Deputy PM Freeland's speech to university grads. That's right. So we'll start with the Prime Minister and his infinite wisdom, of course, too. It's been a big huff recently, especially with the fires going on in Hawaii. My condolences to the poor people of Hawaii trying to sort out their environmental catastrophes and their management catastrophes, too, from what I hear. And to the people of Kelowna, BC. We've all seen the footage. Ladies and gentlemen, ramping fires. It's like something of a bad sci-fi movie. It's kind of scary. But you have to ask yourself this, though, ladies and gentlemen, honestly. With all these fires have been going around since mid-June, does it not seem a little coincidental, really? Does it not seem coincidental that all these fires are popping up and then, people have to worry about the climate? It happened in Spain recently, it happened in Greece there back in July, and now it's happening in Kelowna again, northern BC, parts of Alberta too, and apparently in Northwest Territories now too. They've arrested apparently 4 arsonists. 4 of them. So what's that tell you? Is it the fact that so-called dry grass and deadfall spontaneously combusts? Well, these politicians and our leaders would like you to believe that. Keep pushing the climate change agenda over and over again. I know things are getting dry. We've had a pretty dry summer. In fact, I remember a few summers being pretty dry and hot. That's why it's called summer, right? So you can get all these experts together who want to advocate this and advocate that and demand this and demand that. When it comes down to is that all these taxes we're paying is to line their pockets for the sake of their Green New Deal ideology. And that's all it is, an ideology. It has nothing to do with saving your life or my neighbor's life or my wife's life or nieces and nephews, yours and yours. No, it's a con. How else do I say it? It's devastating what's going on with people. People deserve their homes destroyed. People don't deserve their land destroyed. Nobody deserves that kind of treatment whatsoever. It seems, though, that everything is happening too quickly for the sake of promoting an agenda. So like the title Carl says, ladies and gentlemen, PM Trudeau's stance against the meta people who own and their stance against democracy, apparently. So I'll just cue up a video here for you. I got from my Twitter feed there. PM there on the CPAC channel, Canadian Public Access channel, for my American friends up there. It's similar to your CPAC kind of thing. But just some of the garbage that our beloved Prime Minister is trying to display for all of us here and for you to understand the impact and how he really cares. Like, he really cares about you and I, really cares about how we get along. Yeah, look at his track record. Anyway, I'll just cue this up for you, ladies and gentlemen. But, it's just it's just a joke. There's people losing their homes and their livelihoods, from what's been going on here with these fires, and it's not it's just not feasible. How he tries to get on, how he tries to justify and promote his garbage with this. Let me cue this up here. I'm just having some technical issues here, ladies and gentlemen, but just every time we turn around, this is, from somebody, I forget her name, but, I'll just play it for you, and then you decide yourselves, okay? You decide yourselves what he really means, and if there's any sincerity in this at all, because I really don't think there is. I don't think the man has a sincere bone in his body in regards to Canada, to our allies, to anything, whatsoever. I really don't. I really don't think this man really cares about anything other than himself and his agendas. I'll just cue this back here.
People have questions.
And we'll start the show. But like I say, ladies and gentlemen, if you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe and share this content all over your social media platforms. Do what you can. If you want to donate, please donate. If you don't want to donate, that's fine too. I'll just cue this up again. I'm just having some issues here with with all this stuff here. There we go. Yeah, so just cue it up. And we'll get ready to rock and roll here. My apologies. Thank you for sticking around, though. But we'll just play it now. And you decide, ladies and gentlemen.
About whether they've lost their homes, about whether they need to evacuate, about how things are going. And that's where local news is so important. And the work that people are doing to share messages and keep people informed with safe, up-to-date information is unbelievably essential to keeping Canadians safe. That's why, and I'm going to make a comment on this, it is so inconceivable that a company like Facebook is choosing to put corporate profits ahead of ensuring that local news organizations can get up-to-date information to Canadians and reach them where Canadians spend a lot of their time, online, on social media, on Facebook. Facebook made billions of dollars in profits over the past years, including off of Canadians.
Inconceivable.
And we recently passed legislation that says, Facebook, if you're going to be sharing news or work done by Canadian journalists or local news, you have to make sure they're compensated for it fairly. Well, instead of making sure that local journalists are fairly paid for keeping Canadians informed on things like wildfires,
that's right, pay your fair
Facebook
share.
is blocking news from its sites. In a larger picture, that's bad for democracy because democracy depends on people being able to trust high-quality journalism of all sorts of different perspectives and points of view. But right now, in an emergency situation,
democracy depends on having a government that they can trust. Democracy depends on people having the power to vote and to speak their minds, not who's in charge of the technical industry or who puts things online for you to see and to do. Okay. Both parties are guilty for censorship. The government with Bill C-18, C-36, and C-11, and Facebook and Google alike, who have been censoring people in the name of the jibby jab and the last pandam we had. Okay. But anyway, I'll carry on. Like this. Come on. Democracy? Really? Tell me, Justin, how much democracy have you defended and protected thus far?
where up-to-date local information is more important than ever, Facebook's putting corporate profits ahead of people's safety, ahead of supporting quality local journalism. This is not the time for that. This is the time for Canadians to continue to pull together and be there for each other. It's time for us to expect more from corporations like Facebook that are making billions of dollars off of Canadians.
Yeah, inconceivable, really. Big words for little man, okay? You know what's inconceivable is that you constantly try to push these agendas, and yet you talk about the fires, you talk about how you're doing these wonderful things, you never come up with any plan. You're the leader of the country, and you haven't come up with any plan to help these people. In the Northwest Territories in BC or Alberta or anywhere across the country, we've had a disaster. You've toted virtue all the time. Jog on. I've had it with you. Like, you're just an idiot. You're a schmuck. You're a putz. You're a waste of space. It's really, really hard for people like myself just to try to gain any kind of respect for you. You have ruined this democracy, your party and your supporters, and you fucking know it.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. 22nd of August, episode 224, Tuesday Rant, Crusty Canuck podcast. Yes, Trudeau's stance against meta and democracy. Former MP McKenna's foolish tweet and Deputy PM Freeland's speech to university grads. All that and more coming up shortly. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. Pardon my emotional outburst there. You know, I'm just having a moment here because I'm just seeing this buffoonery, and I know you are too, ladies and gentlemen. To my American listeners, to my Podbeaners out there, thank you very much for the downloads and the subscriptions. I really, really like it. Thank you. One round of applause for you all there. You guys are awesome. To my new Rumblers too, well done in these all. Thank you for the comments. Keep them coming, going, all that good stuff. But still, with all this crisis going on, it's really, really getting tough to believe anything that these people say. And regardless of what degrees they have, or what education they have, they don't know the common people. Okay? They don't know. And that Twitter feed was just lighting up with people saying, oh my God, climate change. Ah, what are we going to do? Ah! How about we live our lives? How about the powers that be stay the hell out of our wallets and let us do our own thing, man? You know? Let us do our thing. The oceans aren't going to boil over or melt. The ice caps aren't going to melt. But there's been proof that people have been setting these fires. Okay? Now, what happened in Maui, apparently the electrical system that hit a lot of long grass. And all that long grass was there because it used to be pineapple and sugarcane used to grow there. But they got rid of that. And they put in an invasive species of grass that grew really, really long, wasn't maintained, and it was dry, and it was hot, and it caught fire. But then again, there's also other rumblings too on how certain services weren't providing water because of equity, and certain services not being here because of this and because of that. And now there's also certain services that are happening in Kelowna where firefighters are getting their gear stolen. So what's going on? Right? Can you say an agenda? I'm pretty sure there's an agenda going on, right? Government likes the money, likes the 2 carbon taxes and everything we use, plus GST. Plus, income tax has gone up too, right? And then you get these virtual teetotalers telling us about, oh, if we don't support this, we're this. Or if we don't support that, we're that. Like, just a total shit show.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Anyway, I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for a little interrupted there. A little technical issue there, too. Anyway, carrying on with today's episode. McKenna, yes, former MP. That's right. McKenna, former MP. She was environmental MP. She was also a darling of the parliament because, you know, she was a successful lady and she's pretty and she's got a degree in law and all this stuff, too, and all this, whatever. And I remember some of the BS she would promote to the general public. It was Rebel Media that coined the phrase climate Barbie because she was the environment minister and then she became the minister of infrastructure on her last term in office too. She only ran for 6 years, but she she really said some stupid things. She was caught on This Hour Has 22 Minutes having a few drinks in St. John's, Newfoundland, saying, one thing I've learned about being in parliament is that if you say it loud enough and long enough, people begin to believe you, right? Didn't Mr. Goebbels from the Nazi Party back in 1939 say the same thing? Jawohl! Interesting, but I digress. Anyway, Miss McKenna's back in the headlines again. She put out a tweet or an X, whatever you want to call it. I still call it Twitter. She put out a tweet there on the 19th, a couple days back. And what she said about the Conservatives. Now, I do support the Conservatives to an extent, but not to a point where I would like to see them governing everything that we do, ladies and gentlemen. So this is from the Toronto Sun, and I didn't find her tweet because I really don't follow her. I'd like to criticize her points of view when I see her pop up once in a while because she's just, to me, she's an idiot. So basically, here's an article from Joe Warmington of the Toronto Sun. Warmington, McKenna blames Conservative arsonists, quote unquote, for many wildfires. Now, it's obviously a metaphor, ladies and gentlemen, but it's just ridiculous. It turns out Canada's former environment minister now agrees many forest fires are the result of arson. Interesting. But she has stunned some people when it comes to assigning blame for starting the blazes. She says, "You are the arsonist," Catherine McKenna posted on X while singling out Conservative politicians. Oops. What happened to climate change? Conservative politicians want to fight about a price on carbon pollution, posted McKenna. Now a chair of a UN net zero. Of course, nice cushy UN job after she leaves politics with a cushy pension. Hey, okay. You want to make it free to pollute while Canadians pay with their lives threatened, homes destroyed, and their communities obliterated. So what are you going to do? You are the arsonist. This was her. And I'll leave this link in the description, ladies and gentlemen. There's the twat waffle herself stating on Twitter on the 19th, Conservative politicians want to fight about a price on carbon pollution. You want to make it free to pollute while Canadians pay with their lives threatened, homes destroyed, and the communities obliterated. So what are you going to do? You are the arsonists. Okay, well, let me tell you something. You're full of shit, Catherine. You're full of shit when you're talking about the environment when you get elected, and you're full of shit about infrastructure. One more time, and this is one of my famous sayings. Even when I was running for federal politics back in 2021, this is what I asked my constituents.
Where's the money, Catherine?
There's also a question of $93 billion, or I think it's $100 billion gone, that was supposed to be put into the Canadian Infrastructure Bank that you apparently set up, and it's gone. So there's a mystery there. So I don't trust anything you have to say. So talk about fighting fire with fire. But McKenna is known to do that when she comes to those who won't bow to the climate religion she preaches. Okay. And there's many pictures of her saying that she rode her bike to work and she went fishing here. And yet every time she's on a bicycle posing for the camera, she has high heels on. And when she was fishing in the Northwest Territories, she was sitting there with high heel boots on, casting a line into water. Now, I don't know about you, but when I'm fishing on slippery rocks, I don't wear high heel boots. That's just me, though. There's some guys I know who have a preference, but anyway, we'll go for a different aspect of that. And she used to say, too, she has no time for folks who are like, we shouldn't take action. She said on CTV back in 2018, I don't have time for politicians that play cynical games about climate action. Well, what actions do you want? Your party has not presented any kind of viable solution when it comes to green energy other than the wind and solar frickin' trend. And you and I all know it doesn't work. It might work for one single household or a few households if they're sharing said grid. But you and I both know, too, there's a monopoly on everything we click on and click off in our lives. And you guys have just been taking more of it. I just find her comments just phenomenally way out of touch. Like, what are you trying to promote? Anyhow, I'm not going to read any more of this article because I just think she's just a total windbag. And I really don't have, I don't have much to share with her at all. I just, her and Justin, her and Justin to me, just, wow. And there was a big stink that was made because someone spray painted the word CUNT on her constituency office back in 2019. Now, regardless of how unprofessional that may be, I don't care, probably because she deserved it. And she made a big stink about it, about females in politics. And oh my God, the misogyny and the sexism. She's a virtue signaler and she's a professional victim. I don't care what her university background is. I don't care what she stands for, because she's also a member of the WEF. Right? WEF. Think about that. Anyhow, which brings me to the part of the episode that I've been asked to do on a regular basis. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this week we have, well, we have a welcoming edition.
The Canadian polar vortex of bullshit.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, back by popular demand. The polar vortex of bullshit. Yes, that's right. And with due consideration and a lot of thought going into the Canadian polar vortex of bullshit, I have none other than former MP of the Environment, Minister of the Environment and Infrastructure, Miss Catherine McKenna. Welcome, Miss Catherine McKenna. Welcome. That's right. I'd just like to ask you some personal questions, madam. How do you really feel about winning this prestigious award from the Crusty Canuck podcast? Now, be honest. Don't lie. Don't try to BS me. Don't try to say, you want to thank God and all this stuff. Tell me how you really, really feel about winning this award. Oh, wait. Cat got your tongue or what? Oh, well then. If that's how you honestly feel, then okay, well done. Is there anything else you'd like to add to the fine people out there? I don't know. Did you feel confused? Do you feel enlightened? Which is it?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I have an infection in my ear.
Well, we got creams for that too. And for that little jaunt you did the first time, there's magic pills for that. So anyway, this has been another segment of, well, oh God, I can't do this up. This has been another segment of, right?
The Canadian polar vortex of bullshit.
Yes, and that's right. And thank you once again, Miss McKenna, for your infinite wisdom and your input. It's always not welcome to the Canadian taxpayer. And we'll be right back after this short little message from the fine people at BattleFit Bodywear. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Crusty Canuck here. Just to remind you, my wonderful audience out there, that BattleFit Bodywear was founded in Windsor, Essex, Ontario in 2019 and is a proud Canadian company. All of our apparel and accessories are purchased and printed right in our hometown by local independent business owners. And we pride ourselves on quality and customer satisfaction. At BattleFit Bodywear, we believe that every person has a warrior with them waiting to come out. Our brand is meant to inspire and fan the internal flame. Regardless of what your thing is, take it to the next level and be the best version of yourself that you can be. We also believe in that maintaining balanced lifestyle is a key to a good life. It includes having a regimented and productive fitness and exercise schedule. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline will get you across the finish line. Get there with BattleFit Bodywear. Crusty Canuck says so. Cheers. And that's BattleFit Bodywear, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Be battle fit, be battle ready. BattleFit Bodywear. Be limitless, be battle fit. BattleFit Bodywear. Anyway, coming back. That's right. Episode 224, the Tuesday Rant. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an interesting week so far, to say the least, especially in regards to what's been going on with our politics and everything else. Sorry for the blackouts there. I've had some issues with my switches, but I think you see my point. Ex-politicians weighing in, blaming the Conservatives, and then liberals blaming democracy and saying they promote democracy. And which brings me to my last part of this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Chrystia Freeland, the Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister of Canada, as we speak. I would say she's probably the most underqualified politician we have in our cabinet. She did go to Harvard, apparently. Yes, a Northeastern University. And she ended up becoming a business journalist. Not an actual business person per se, but a business journalist. And she used to be quite the anti-rich kind of person, but now she sits in the WEF just like Miss McKenna does in her own special way. But I'll read a little article here from Northeast University's paper there in regards to what she said. Now, there's a video. I didn't queue up for it, but it angered me, ladies and gentlemen. She basically asked the students, do you want capitalized democracy? And the majority of Canadians would say, yeah, we do. We do. I like a democracy where you can have a chance to make some money. I know you do. And I like a democracy where you have politicians to say the fuck out of our wallets. But anyway, I'll cue this article up and I'll read along with you guys. But yeah, I'll leave the links in my description, all that good stuff. And just the BS this lady was toting. Like, honestly, really. Crusty Freeland, Canada's Deputy Prime Minister, urges Northeastern graduate students to become the greatest generation of this century. Okay. All right. Crusty Freeland, Canada's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, wove together the themes of resilient achievement and courageous ambition during her speech to the graduate students at Northeastern University 121st commencement on Sunday at Fenway Park in Boston. Now, Boston's a nice town. I've been to Boston. I like Boston, right? So this is some of her quotes there, too. Freeland laid out the harsh global realities which her audience was well aware, the ongoing assault on democracies by authoritarian regimes like the Liberal Party and the United States Democrats, and empowered the ascent of the ultra-rich at the expense of the middle class, the rising seas and accompanying dangers imposed by climate change. Oh, here we go with more fucking panic. She was intent in inspiring the graduates to take and make a stand. With education you have received at this exceptional school, you have earned the opportunity to shape the future, our planets, your countries, and your own, Freeland said. I believe that all of you must become the greatest generation of this century. She was referring to a title earned by the 1940s by a generation that fought and won World War II, including, she said, her grandfather. Yeah, well, so did my grandfather too, Miss Freeland. Both of my grandfathers. Even had an uncle that fought in Korea. And yours truly fought in a war too. Anyway, right? And this goes on. It's a pro-Freeland thing. But you got to ask yourself, though, how important is this democracy to you all, ladies and gentlemen? Like I said, I'll leave this link in my description for you to follow. I'll leave all these links, for my descriptions for you to follow. And you guys decide, because it's just garbage. I want to thank the people at Northern Perspective, Cypher and Fox once again. They put together a great video. I'll leave a link to that video in my description for you to follow too, so you get better understanding of her speech. Just garbage. Like, she's just so full of crap. Honestly, like, really, like, I'm just so tired of these people that call themselves liberals, and there's nothing liberal about them, right? There's nothing liberal about them.
Well, smack my ass and call me Judy.
Indeed. There's nothing liberal about that at all either, unless you ask Judy first. But that's a different story. But we're at a point where the pot is boiling. Okay, so regardless of what Miss Freeland says, what the Prime Minister Trudeau says, what ex-MP Miss McKenna says, what Polyev says, what your mayor says, what this Reeve says, what this council person says, it's getting to the point where we're all getting insulted, from our intelligence to what we do for a living to who we love. Okay. It's just getting ridiculous. And for what? For what agenda? Right? Collectivism is the key? No. Sorry, kids. For you kids under 30 years of age, no, it didn't work in the 20th century. It sure ain't going to work in the 21st. No matter how hard you fucking try. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe. Share this content over your social media platforms. I had a pretty long day today, too. I was moving a lot of stuff at work today. A lot of clay, a little bit of manure, some feed. But, it was a long day. And like I said, every Tuesday, I try to get the episodes up and running for you all out there. So Tuesday rants, and every other Saturday, I put a podcast up, too. So once again, if you like and hear, see, click like and subscribe. Share this content on all of your social media platforms. And once again, too, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Rumble, too. So I want to get some more Rumblers out there. Once again, a big round of applause for all you guys that have subscribed and sent me some lovely emails. Right? And, I appreciate everything that has been said to me the past few weeks and the past little while. You're the reason I do this podcast. But please consider donating, too. The more you donate, the easier life gets. I'm not saying you have to, but please consider donating if you can. Links in the description as well. Anyhow, like I was said, in this episode of 224 of the Tuesday Rant, Trudeau's stance in democracy, former MP Catherine McKenna's foolish tweet, Deputy PM Freeland speech to university grads. Now, she did ask the question if kids want democracy. Regardless of how you dress up a poop sandwich, it's still a poop sandwich. And all these politicians have done nothing but give us effing poop sandwiches. So let's start giving it back. Okay. There's rumors of an election coming up, probably in the spring. I doubt there'll be coming one in the fall because they have to bring Parliament back and they're going to sort of climate change stuff and get all dramatic. But we are better than that, ladies and gentlemen. Let us not fall into the vice of garbage and the media stream. If you're going to be upset about not getting media through Facebook, then go to these news sites, download their application, and if you have to pay, so be it. If you want to be informed, that's up to you as an individual to be informed. It's not up to the government to do it for you because we're seeing the results of that as we speak. Right? Anyhow, I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 22nd of August, 2023. Weather is getting a little damp out there. I am anyway, too. But do what you can to keep yourselves neat and tidy. Look after your friends and loved ones. Do the best you can with what you got. And just try to be good to people and try to set the better example than these ass clowns that I've mentioned. I'm so fed up with these morons, and I'm sure my American listeners out there too are getting fed up with all the Bidens and all this rhetoric and all this crap with just garbage promotion, just garbage effort, garbage leadership, and garbage consideration. We can do better, ladies and gentlemen. But like I say, do what you can to help each other in these trying times. Try to be neighborly. Just try to be as best as you can to yourself and to your friends and family. And like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, and I'll see you this Saturday. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthy.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Well, smack my ass and call me Judy.